Hey viewers, welcome to the channel Students Inspiration. I'm sure you might be waiting for the new videos for a long time. So here I am with a new topic, and the topic is active and passive voice. So here, those who haven't yet subscribed to the channel may subscribe the channel so that you can come across the latest videos and the new topics from time to time. So here let me begin. Well, I just want to tell you that what is active and what is passive voice. But before that, you must know that what is voice. So here, words or group of words that tells us that what is being focused in the sentence, what we are focusing on in the sentence, that is said to be voice. I repeat it. Something that tells us that what is being focused in the sentence is said to be voice. So here we can have active or the passive voice. Now what is active voice or what is passive voice? For that I have an example. A boy brought candy. So here, now if we bifurcate the sentence, what we get? We get a subject, a verb and an object. What is subject? Subject is a doer or a performer. One who performs an action, that is said to be subject. Now we also have verb. Verb, we all know that verb is an action word. Okay. Now what is candy? Candy is object over here. Now what is object? Object is that thing on which action is being done or performed. So here candy is acting as object. Now let us again move back to the sentence. A boy brought candy. So here in the sentence what we are focusing on is boy. So when we are focusing on the subject of the sentence or the doer of the sentence, that is said to be active voice. While when we focus on the object of the sentence, it is said to be passive voice. Like I've made an arrow and I've made the interchange. You can see a candy was brought by a boy. Well, here in the next sentence, what we see? We see that we are focusing on a candy. Candy, which was initially the object, because candy is not at all performing any kind of action. Make it very clear. Candy is not at all performing any kind of action. Instead, the action is being performed on candy. Hence, candy is object. And since candy is object in the second sentence, the sentence is in passive voice. I'm sure you might have understood it very clearly. So here, from active to passive means in the change in subject to object and object to subject. So let us take an example. Like we all know that we have 12 tenses. Well, I just want to tell you that to make active from passive is possible only in 8 tenses. That is in the 3 tenses of present, 3 for past and the 2 for future. Well, let us repeat it. The subject that we chose was boy. The verb that we took was bring, because brought is the past form of bring. Okay. Now the object that we had was candy. So if we talk about present indefinite tense, but before that there is something very essential for everybody to understand, that here in the active and passive voice we are going to use be form of verb. So many a time students forget, but not at all an issue. Here is the time when we can revise it. So the be form of verb we do have is am and are in present tense, was and verb in past tense, will and shall in future tense. We also include be, been, and being. And what is the use of be, been, and being? It is used in passive voice, and here I'm going to tell this to all of my students. So let's practice it with the help of examples. Like if I start with present indefinite tense, the sentence that I have is a boy brings a candy. A boy brings a candy. So a boy is subject over here and brings is verb. A candy is object. Now, when we go through the verb, it is the S form of action and we immediately recognize that it is present indefinite tense. So how we are going to change it in passive voice? So we can change a candy is brought by a boy. Now, most of the students might be requiring the structure or the formula or the rule. So here I won't give you a bundle of rules. Instead, I'm going to shortlist the book of rules into a column. So here, while we are changing present indefinite from active to passive, what we use is, we simply use is, am or are according to the new subject along with the third form of verb. Third form, that is the perfect form of verb. No, I'm sorry, that's not perfect. That's the past participle form of verb. Well, so the same thing we did, a candy, because we have only one candy. A candy is brought by a boy. I'm sure this much is very clear to all my students. So here let's move towards present continuous. Now, present continuous, let us revise active. A boy is bringing a candy. Definitely, that's what we are going to have. A boy is bringing a candy. So now, how we are going to change it is a boy is being, no, a candy is being brought by a boy. A candy is being brought by a boy. Now, what is the rule over here? Since it is continuous, along with is, am, are, we are going to use being in addition to it. As usual, the third form of verb or the past participle form of verb. So, one thing that everybody has to remember, that in continuous we are going to have being, B-E-I-N-G, being. Now comes your present perfect. Since it is perfect, we are going to have has or have according to the subject. If it is singular subject, we will be using haves. If it is plural subject, we are going to use have. Now, a boy has brought a candy. A boy has brought a candy. Now, the conversion is a candy has been brought by a boy. A candy has been brought by a boy. So, what we learned? We learned that in perfect tense, we are having has or have plus been along with the third form of verb. Now moving towards past indefinite. Since it is past indefinite, we are going to use the past form of verb. A boy brought a candy. Now how we are going to change? We are going to change it very simply. A candy was brought by a boy. Just a helping or auxiliary verb, and the third form of verb is to be used. A candy was brought by a boy. Now, if we talk about the past continuous, a boy was bringing a candy. So, how we are going to change? Just don't forget that it is continuous, so we are going to use being. A candy was being brought by a boy. Now, if we talk about the perfect form, so in past perfect, we have had. A boy had brought a candy. Now, the changes are a candy had been brought by a boy. Now, in present, we had 3 sentences, and in past, too, we have 3 sentences. Well, in future, we are going to have just 2. And that is future indefinite and future perfect. In future we won't be having future continuous or future perfect continuous tense. Well, so a boy will bring a candy. Because it is future, we are going to use will or shall. A boy will bring a candy. And how we are going to change? We are going to use be. Be. A candy will be brought by a boy. A candy will be brought by a boy. If you want to have a look at the structure, you can have subject, will or shall plus be, and the third form of verb. Now, the last one, that is future perfect. A boy will have brought a candy. A boy will have brought a candy. Now the changes. A candy will have been. Because it is perfect, the same way we used in present perfect and the past perfect, the same we are going to apply in future perfect also. A candy will have been brought by a boy. I'm sure if you learn just these very simple things, you are going to make active to passive very easily, no matter what kind of sentence it is. You just have to memorize very few things. And here on your screen you can have a look. Everything is very clear. You can capture it, you can prepare your notes, you can practice more sentences, and if any kind of doubt, I'll be waiting for it in the comment box. Okay students, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, the Students Inspiration, and yes, kindly press the bell icon too. Bye, take care.